Hey everyone out there from our Grove Church family to anyone that's picking this up or watching this on Facebook or YouTube or on our website. We'd just like to thank you guys for your patience and thank you guys for your assistance and all and everything that is going on in these crazy times and these uncertain times of whether we know what we're going to do or what we're not going to do. We appreciate you guys, your thoughts and your prayers. I would like to just send a thank you out to our entire church, Grove Church, for the amazing response we got for last Sunday's service. I understand it was very different. It was very unique in what we were doing. It was nothing that we'd ever seen before, ever done before. So we really appreciate your support with that. We had so many hits on our website. Our website actually crashed for a little bit, which is kind of frustrating at the time, but is overall really good news that many people were trying to join on our website and watch our live stream. So we appreciate that. And we thank you for that. I just want to take a little time to kind of talk to our kids, and not necessarily just the kids of the Grove, but just everyone out there. This is both for kids and for parents during this time of quarantine and being stuck at home together. I understand that being stuck together is a really good time for us to be together, but also it can be times of tension and frustration and just ready to get out of the house and get away from each other for a little bit. But what I want to offer you guys is a chance for family devotion and family Bible study to kind of begin during this time of quarantine. There's no really excuses now that we have of being too busy or got to go all these different places because we're all kind of just stuck at home. And this is God's way of kind of letting us know, hey, we need to start doing family devotions and family discipleship at home. And this is kind of giving you guys an outlet or a way to start doing those type of devotions and Bible studies with your family, with your kids. You can even do this study by yourself. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at heroes of faith. And we're going to take Hebrews 11 and we're going to look at a different hero of faith each and every day this week. We're going to kind of go through each one. And at the end, I'm going to leave some questions that I would like for the parents and families to discuss together with their kids. And as a group, just kind of talk about a few things, talk about how this applies to us today, and different scenarios like that. So Hebrews chapter 11, we're going to be looking at verses 1 through 4 for this particular part of the Bible study. And it says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. For by it the people of old received their commendation. By faith we understand that the universe was created by the word of God, so that what is seen was not made out of things that are visible. By faith, Abel offered to God a more acceptable sacrifice than Cain. Though which he was commended as righteous, God commended him by accepting his gift. And through his faith, though he died, he still speaks." And so what I want to do is break this down kind of verse by verse, and then when we get to our first hero of faith, kind of talk about what happened with Abel and why his faith was so important. And why it is so important for us to look at. But verse 1 says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." Our faith is extremely important. We have faith in everything that we do, whether we are sitting down in chairs, whether we're driving our car. We have faith in the things around us that they're going to work. And we also have faith in the assurance of things hoped for. We have faith that God is going to provide for us in every scenario, in every circumstance, no matter how difficult or how crazy things get. God is always going to provide for us. We just need to have faith in Him. And it's even going to happen in the situations and scenarios that we don't even see. Everyday life things that happen that we don't even think twice about. God provides for us because we should have faith in Him. Verse 2 says, For by it the people of old received their commendation. Verse 3, "By faith we understand that the universe was created by the word of God, so that what is seen was made out of things that are visible." Our faith tells us who the Creator is. Our faith tells us that God created everything just by speaking it into existence. It wasn't just miraculous things that kind of happened and nothing controllable just kind of happened and a big bang happened and here the earth was. No, God created everything by speaking it into existence. And we have faith in that. We have proof in that God is who He says He is. And that proves in our world today that God is the provider that He says He is. So no matter how crazy our world gets, how crazy life gets, no matter how crazy the next couple of weeks get, God is going to provide for us because of our faith, because that we have faith in him. But then verse 4, and that's where we're going to kind of veer things off and talk about a few things. It says, by faith, Abel offered to God a more acceptable sacrifice than Cain, through which he was commended as righteous, God commending him by accepting his gifts. And through his faith, though he died, he still speaks. I want to take you to Genesis chapter 4 and kind of just give you the overview of the story of Cain and Abel. I'm sure many of us know it. But Cain and Abel were the offspring of Adam and Eve. And during this time, if you go to Genesis, you can see that Abel gave everything that he had, the best that he had to offer. He gave it to God as a sacrifice, because that is what God required, is the best that we can give, is that the best that Abel could give. While Cain just kind of gave a little bit of the first fruits, gave a little bit of what he wanted to give, but kind of kept everything, kept the best to himself to provide for himself. But Abel had faith that God was who he said he was, and that God was going to provide for them. Even by giving his best, he knew God was going to still provide for Abel. And we know the story as it goes later on. Cain gets so furious and so frustrated with Abel that he kills his own brother. And Abel gave his life. Abel lost his life, but still followed what God wanted him to do. And during those uncertain times of Abel, of giving the best that he could give to God, and losing his life in the long run, at the end of it all, Abel still had faith that God was going to provide and that God was going to take care of them all. Abel's faith is shown right here, and it's no coincidence that he is brought up in chapter 11 of Hebrews again, because he is one of the heroes of faith. By his faith, we see him that he still speaks, and it says at the end of verse 4, it says he still speaks. Because of his faith, because of what he did, because of him sacrificing the best that he had to God, and having faith that God was still going to provide, that he could give the best that he could give, and God would still provide for him. We should follow that guideline for ourselves, that we should still be giving the best that we can to God through our faith. And we should know that while we give the best, God is still going to provide. And the best may not be a whole lot. The best may be just a very little bit that you have. The little bit that you have is still the best that you can give God, and he sees that, and he recognizes that. Everyone's best is going to be different, because we are all different. We all are created differently. We are all made by the image of God, but we are all still different, like snowflakes. But God still wants the very best that we have, and he wants us to offer the very, very best that we can. And we should do that during these times of offering the very best that we can to God in all situations and all circumstances. I want to leave some final thoughts with you. Parents, this is a great time for you at the end of this video to kind of talk to your kids about this, kind of come together, have a little time of discussion, have a little prayer at the end of it. But parents, I want you to take some time today to talk to your kids about why having faith like Abel is so important, especially in times that we are facing today. Why having faith like Abel is very critical of giving our best to God. Why having that type of faith is so important. And then talk to them about how in these uncertain times, having that faith will help them in the long run. We all know that we are all going to come out of this at some point. Everything's going to go back to normal at some point. But we shouldn't lose our faith once things go back to normal. During these tough times, during these tested times, our faith should be stronger, that at the end of it, we should be a better believer, a better disciple for Christ after it. And so I'll leave you with those two questions of why we should have faith like Abel, and how this type of faith in these uncertain times are going to help us in the long run. I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow. We'll pick up with verse 5 and talk about Enoch. I would also like to invite everyone to join us this Sunday for our service. You can find us on our Facebook page. You can find us on our website, www.grovechurchsmyrna.com. You can also find us on our YouTube channel, The Grove Church, and we are very excited to be with you this Sunday. You can also find the audio version from last week's sermon, and after this Sunday, this week's sermon on our website, and our sermon notes as well. We just want to offer the best material that we can, the most material that we can for our congregation and for people who come across this. We want to give you the best that we can. And so we are offering all of that on our website, that you can find all of that as well. I appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.